We are on example 3 from lesson 5.3. For example 3, it's going to be a word problem, and it's going to say find and interpret the slope. Remember, whenever it says interpret, that means write me a sentence. So we're going to figure out what the slope is, and then we have to write a sentence basically dumbing it down for somebody, like, hey, what does that number actually mean in terms of the situation? Okay, for 3A, I'm going to read the problem to you, and then we will write down just the important information. The graph shows the relationship between a person's age and his or her estimated maximum heart rate. Okay, so it's going to be person's age and max heart rate. We're going to need some graph paper, so grab some graph paper for me. Your y-axis, when you make this, it needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It needs to go at least 10 up. So give it some space when you're making this x and y. And it's going to be a word problem, so we're only going to deal with quadrant 1 because the negative numbers would not make sense. So just make sure you give it enough space where you have 10 on the y-axis. Okay, the y-axis is going to be the max heart rate. And we're going to go by 20s. The intervals are going to increase by 20. Bless you, 20 each time. So, zoom in. So it's going to it always starts at 0. The x-axis is going to be age, and we're going to have that one go by tens. My intervals on the x-axis are going to go tens. It hits the y-axis, I think, a little bit above 200. So maybe about 200, give it a dot. But it definitely hits at 20, 180. 20, 180 is one of the points. Another one of the points, 50, 150. 50, 150. And then use the straight edge. Yeah. Oops. Okay, so it's asking us to find the slope and to write a sentence on what the slope means in this situation. So to find the slope, we're going to use the 2 points that they gave us. So as you can see, this line is coming down, right? So it has negative slope. So when we're done, make sure we have a negative answer. I'm going to use these 2 points. So I'm going to write them next to the graph. I'm going to label the points X, Y, and X and Y. The first point is going to be sub 1s. Second point is sub 2s. Remember to do slope. Slope is always going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So y sub 2 was 150 minus y sub 1 is 180. X sub 2 is 50 minus x sub 1 is 20. Use your calculator if you need to. I would rather you use it and not make silly mistakes. 150 take away 180 is negative 30. Don't forget the negative, because remember it's going to have negative slope. 50 take away 20 is 30. We always reduce our fractions. Negative 30 over 30 is negative 1 over 1, or just negative 1. So the slope is negative 1. And then we also have to write a sentence on what that means. So when I write a sentence about the slope, I always know slope is always the change in y over the change in x, right? The y words were age, so I'm going to write age by the y, by the top number, by the numerator. Nope, sorry, I said that's wrong. Age is x. Oops. Y is the max heart rate. Your max heart rate, and then X is your age. So I need to write this as a sentence. So negative 1 has to go with the max heart rate, 1 goes with age. So your sentence would be something like, every year you age, every year, your maximum heart rate goes down by 1 beat per minute. So your sentence doesn't need to be exact, but something like every year your maximum heart rate, or your max heart rate, goes down 1 beat per minute. Sorry, I'm squishing it in because I'm running out of space. Every year, your maximum heart rate decreases 1 beat per minute. So that negative 1 has to do with the maximum heart rate, which is beats per minute. So it decreases. Okay, so for all of these, you have to tell me the slope, and you have to give me a sentence saying, what does that slope even mean? Okay, let's do another one. Does anyone need this one up still? Or switch? Okay, the next one, we're going to make a graph, but this graph, before you create it, look at the way mine is first, because it's kind of a long graph, but it's not very tall. So your graph needs to go about 15 or 16 on the x-axis. The y-axis is not that long, but your x-axis is going to be long for this one. Okay, this word problem, this is 3B. And it says, the graph shows the relationship between the temperature expressed in degrees Fahrenheit and the temperature expressed in degrees Celsius. Okay, Fahrenheit is going to be on the bottom. Degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to go by fives. and have it go up to 80. It's going by fives. The y-axis is going to go is Celsius. And that one is also going to go by fives. Okay, it is going to hit the x-axis. I would say it looks like it's at 32 or 33. So on the x-axis, find like 32, 33-ish and put a dot. Okay, the two exact points we are going to hit, 50, 10. 50 on the x-axis, 10 on the y-axis. 50, 10 is one of the points. And the other point is 77, 25. 77, 25. And then connect those. Okay, we need to find the slope, and then we need to interpret the slope. So what does that slope actually mean? Okay, so find the slope first. So pick 2 points. So we're going to use the 2 points they gave us, 50, 10, and then 77, 25. Go ahead and find the slope between those 2 points. Okay, your slope was 5 over 9. If you got 15 over 27, just remember you need to reduce that. It's divisible by 3 over 3, 5 over 9. Now we have to write the sentence. So slope is always y over x. So the words that went with y is Celsius. And the words that went with x was the Fahrenheit. So we need to come up with a sentence on what does this 5/9 actually mean. So it's positive. So every time Celsius increases by 5 degrees, Fahrenheit increases by 9 degrees. So when it says interpret, that means write me a sentence on what it means in terms of the situation. So 5/9 just means Celsius increases 5 degrees, and then the Fahrenheit would increase by 9 degrees. Okay, we're going to do one more word problem. Okay, I'm going to read the word problem first. The number of cubic feet of water, y, in a reservoir x hours after the water starts flowing into the reservoir is a linear function. The points blank and blank are on the line of the function. Okay, in the word problem it says that y is going to stand for cubic feet of water. And then in the question it says x stands for hours. after the reservoir keeps getting filled with water. It gives me 2 points in the question. The points are 40, 3,000 and 60, 4,000. So after 40 hours, there's 3,000 cubic feet of water. After 60 hours, there's 4,000 cubic feet of water. We have to find the slope, and then we have to interpret what it actually means. Okay, go ahead and figure out what's the slope between these 2 points. So label xy, xy, calculate the slope, reduce as well. Slope is 50, or 50 over 1. So slope is always y over x. It tells me in the directions, the y is the cubic feet of water, and it tells me in the directions that x stands for hours. So I want to know, what does this 50 mean in this situation? So see if you can come up with your own sentence right now using this to help you. Your sentence does not need to be exact, but something about every hour, there's 50 cubic feet more of water in the reservoir, or it increases by another 50 cubic feet of water each hour. Questions there? Your sentence does not need to be exact, but something like that. Of every hour, it increases 50 cubic feet of water. Okay, last example. Everyone have that? Anyone need that up still? We're good? Okay. Now it's going to ask, this is example 4. It's going to say graph and find the slope. Okay, the equation is 2x equals 5y plus 10. Bless you. Bless you. I think it's easiest to graph, bless you, if we get it into slope-intercept form first. So that's how I'm going to do it. If you have other ways to do it, that's okay. So I want to get it into slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So I want to get y by itself. So if I look at the equation, draw a line going down from your equal sign. Look at the side that has the y, because we're trying to get y by itself. Right now there's 2 terms over there, right? There's a 5y, and then there's a positive 10. I want to get rid of the other term that's not the y. So look at the side that has the y, get rid of the other term. So we're going to get rid of positive 10 by subtracting 10. If I subtract 10 from one side, subtract it from the other side. Everyone should be doing this right now, not just sitting here watching me. Okay, 2x and minus 10, those are not like terms. Don't put down negative 8x, that's wrong. These are 2 different terms. One has an x and one doesn't. I typically like to have it in slope-intercept form, so I always put my x's first before my constant, but it doesn't matter. You can switch them. It's not wrong. I'm going to put the x's first. There's still 2 x's, and then there's a minus 10. Or you can put negative 10 plus 2x. Bring down your equal sign, and then bring down 5y. That positive 10, take away 10 is 0. So we don't need to bring down plus 0. Okay, look at the side that has the y. I'm trying to get y by itself. So instead of it saying 5 times y, I'm going to undo multiplication by division. If I divide on one side, I have to divide everything by 5. That's the division property of equality. Okay, 2 over 5, 2 divided by 5. I can't reduce that anymore, so just leave that as 2/5 x. Negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Bring down your equal sign. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now it's in slope-intercept form. If you prefer to put the y first, that works. Y equals 2/5 x minus 2. Okay, from here it says graph it and find the slope. So I'm just going to go ahead and write the slope right now. The slope is the number that's in front of the x, right? Slope is 2/5. Do not write 2/5 x. I will mark that wrong on a test. X is not your slope. So if you put in the x, I'm going to mark it wrong. Okay, grab some graph paper. We have to graph this. So we look at the equation that's in slope-intercept form. You guys remember how to do this. We always graph the y-intercept first, the b value, which is -2. So go to your y-axis. On your y-axis, find -2 and put a dot. Okay, from that y-intercept now, we're going to use the slope of 2/5. So it's rise over run. So rise, go up 2. So start at your y-intercept, go up 2 over 5. I don't have space to do another one, but I do have space to go backwards. So up 2 over 5 is the same as down 2 backwards 5. So I'm going to also go down 2. So start at your y-intercept, go down 2, and backwards 5. Because -2 over -5 is still positive slope. Okay, I like to have 3 points, because sometimes when you only have 2 points and you go to draw your line, sometimes your line is going to be off a little bit. If you have 3 points, it seems to be a little bit more solid or more accurate. Okay, connect with a straight line, and it gets arrows on it. If you forget the arrows, I'm going to take points off on a test. There's our graph. Go ahead and cut that out and glue that into your notes. And then we have one more, and then we're done for today. Okay, last one. This is 4B. (4x minus 3y equals 6). We need to find the slope, and we need to graph it. Remember, I want to put it into slope-intercept form first, so I want to get y by itself. So I draw a line going down from my equal sign. Look at the side that has the y. Get rid of the other term. So right now, there's 2 terms over here. There's a 4x and a minus 3y. So get rid of the other term that's not the y. So get rid of 4x's. It's a positive 4x, so to get rid of them, we're going to subtract 4x's. Because 4x's take away 4x's is no more x's. They're gone. If you subtract 4x on one side, you have to subtract from the other side. That's the subtraction property of equality. Everyone should be doing this right now. 4x's take away 4x's. Hi, welcome to math. What are you looking at? Great. 4x's take away 4x's. There's no more x's. They're gone now. Don't forget to bring down the minus sign that's in front of the 3. So you're bringing down -3y's. Okay, these are not like terms. Don't write down 2x. 2x is wrong. Do not combine these. They're 2 different terms. One has an x and one doesn't. I want it in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to put my x's first. There's -4x's, and then there's a positive 6. Your paper should look just like mine. Some of you are trying to skip steps and do things in your head, and then you're making mistakes. Please write down all the steps. Okay, look at the side that has the y. I want to get rid of multiplying by -3. So to undo multiplication, I divide. If I divide to one side, divide everything on the other side. That's the division property of equality. Make sure you're dividing by -3, not +3. Okay, -3 divided by -3 is 1. So I have 1y. -4 divided by -3. A negative divided by a negative is positive. 4/3, just leave it alone. You can't reduce it anymore, so just leave it as 4/3 x. Positive divided by a negative, +6 divided by -3. Positive divided by a negative is negative, and then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So there's our equation in slope-intercept form. It asks for the slope. The slope is the number in front of x. So the slope is 4/3. It is not 4/3 x. Make sure you're writing that down. It's just 4/3. As long as you have work showing, great. Yes. Okay, now we need to graph that. Okay, the first thing we always graph is the y-intercept. So go ahead and put a dot at the y-intercept at -2. On the y-axis at -2, put a dot. So whatever the b value is, that's the y-intercept, that's where we're starting at. Then we have a slope of 4/3, so up 4/3, up 4/3. So start at your y-intercept always, and go up 4/3. Now put a new dot. If you have space to do up another 4 and over 3, you can do it. Or if you have space to go down 4 and backwards 3, you can do that. And then connect. And put arrows. And then cut that out and glue it into your notes. So this is the graph, and here is the slope. And it has positive slope, the line is going up. We are done with this lesson, so we're going to work on the exit ticket. If you don't finish the exit ticket today, you do have time tomorrow to continue working on it tomorrow in class.